Hey everybody, it's Captain Trucker here. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to continue our exploration of this concept called neo-social media colonialism. How us foreigners and vloggers are shaping the influence of these cultures directly or indirectly, what that can mean for the future of tourism and expat life here, and how many Americans alone could possibly be in this country by 2034. If we keep going at a 5 to 7% rate, that number could very well become true. There could be 1 million Americans here by 2034, okay? Right now there's an estimated about 300, 400,000. But before we get into this topic, I want to go to the gym because I have to work out. And I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff we've been doing around here, so stay tuned. I'll be right back. Hey Zach, you got the new umbrella, right? Because your mom's gonna be mad if we lost her umbrella.
Wow.
Show the umbrella you got for your mom. For mom, okay, good job.
What is this?
That's an air freshener. We're looking for toys.
That's a toy?
Yeah, we lost an umbrella.
Well, we got that.
All right, our goal is to build more muscle in the pecs, man. I'm working on my bench, trying to get my bench up to 300 pounds. Currently at 260-ish. So we got more work to do. More work in the Philippines, more work for the future. Neo-social media colonialism. How are us vloggers affecting the future of Philippines tourism, expats? Are we changing the economy? Are we putting out a good message? What type of tourists will be coming here in the future? It's a lot of questions that need to be answered, you know? Because it's a potentially serious issue. There could be about 1 million Americans here alone by 2034. They estimate right now it's like 300,000, maybe 400,000. In light of all the vlogs, in light of all the promotion and tourism, the world's becoming a smaller place, folks. So there could be more and more of us here in the next 10 years. So what's that mean for Americans? What's that mean for Filipinos? Are we gonna drive up the economy? Are we gonna make consumer goods expensive for the locals because more Americans and Europeans are coming here? That's the question. But also the type of tourists, right? Will we see more family expats? Will we see younger people? Traditionally, it's been mostly retirees, okay? But now in the age of remote work, I think we're gonna start seeing younger people come here. And there's no reason why not. Traditionally, they used to go to other countries like in China or Japan, more like developed countries because there were more work opportunities. But now, more people are working, you know, remotely. So what's this all gonna mean as the world becomes a smaller place? I mean, I'm not sure how many people migrate due to whatever stuff's going on in the US as far as the political scene. You always hear people say stuff like, oh, if so-and-so gets elected, you know, I'm leaving the country. But I wonder how much an effect that really has, if that's even true. So, it's also the question of, you know, like we're talking about with vloggers, the kind of propaganda we might be inadvertently creating, the type of message we're putting out there. Obviously, you know, colonialism, historically, it does not exist. But that's what neo-colonialism is, or what I call neo-social media colonialism. It's like an indirect influence or direct influence from like outside sources such as social media and other people. So how is that affecting these countries? How do you guys feel about it? A lot of people think it's a positive thing. I'm skeptical, you know. I know what my fellow people are capable of, for better or worse. So the question is like the type of tourist, the type of expat, the type of people that are coming to these countries from the West. So I think that's where we can help as vloggers to promote a positive message. You know, stuff like the Manosphere and Passport Bros, they've had interesting influences on, I guess, men looking for wives, girlfriends abroad and so forth. And it makes sense to have these like man groups, and there's stuff going on in the US about, you know, changing genders and changing identities and all this stuff. And it's caused like a big issue because they're trying to make it mainstream in the US, okay? Now, I personally think that a lot of people don't even care what people choose to do with their body or their sexual genders and whatever. A lot of those, you know, toxic movements in the US, they're all based in fear. You know, they got these selling points of like, oh, equal rights and this and that. But I think most Americans and most people aren't too concerned with like the question that infringes on their equal rights. It's more about embracing differences. And that movement is more about the destruction of identity, really. I'm sorry, but it is like the destruction of family. If there's no family, there's no identity, you just have more confusion. We live already in a confused world. Why do people want to confuse it more, right? It's just a simple matter of that. I mean, they're doing this stuff to children as young as 7, 8 years old. I mean, they're trying to change their genders and give them surgeries. It's insanity. Most Americans know that. It's been a couple of fringe groups pushing this stuff. But anyway, how it applies, I forget how this applies to neocolonialism, but, well, all this stuff from the West has influences in some way, shapes, or forms, you know? But, oh yeah, with Passport Bros and stuff. So you got the flip side of that. So you got men, you know, concerned that they're feminizing men and they're looking for traditional women. But what's happening is you're getting more echo chambers of guys that are basically making excuses to promote potential sources of exploitation through tourism, right? I mean, not all Passport Bros and these whatever Manosphere guys are like bad people, but obviously vloggers putting out messages like age is just a number, Filipinos don't care about age gaps. They're sort of speaking for a population of 111 million people, whereas, you know, extreme age gap relationships do exist in certain sectors of the expat Philippine population. But like other propaganda, it's grossly over-exaggerated, right? So, I mean, I live in a small town outside of some of these hot spots like Dumaguete, Angeles City, and BGC, and these other places. Like, I don't see a lot of extreme age gaps running around. The problem with those messages and vloggers trying to normalize it is the potential, you know, irresponsible, I guess, sort of, I don't know, sex tourist, potential criminal coming out here. That's the problem, you know? They're gonna go, oh, age is just a number, Filipino people don't matter. It's like, there's stuff that goes on in all countries that's potentially dangerous for young women and potentially children. So those are the type of messages that we got to be careful of as vloggers in the way we're presenting this information, okay? The context in which we talk about it. And it's the same with exploring other places in the Philippines that are underdeveloped. I mean, a lot of people are watching vlogs for ideas, man. They've never been to these countries and they want to know what's acceptable. They want groups to feel that they can talk to. So it's very crucial that as vloggers talk about these places more responsibly, both now and the future, because I think people can underestimate the influence of such messages on these countries, all right? Now, there's always been like propaganda in history, and some people aren't even intentionally doing it, you know? People can start off on vlogs and they get some traction and they get popular, and then suddenly they're kind of putting out messages that they didn't even want to do, or sort of even goes against their own moral compass or fibers. But there's a certain addiction and blindness that comes with like fame, you know? So it's like, it's something that we should all be mindful of for sure. But anyway, what do you guys think? How is the future of tourism going to affect these countries? How is Americans coming here going to shape the local cultures and the way these countries are seen? Do you think it's minimal? Do you think it's a lot? Do you think it's serious? Do you think it's worth talking about? Let me know in the comments. Hey, welcome back. So, yeah, vloggers themselves, we can serve as what they call cultural brokers, and it basically shapes how potential expats perceive life in the Philippines, like pretty obvious. A lot of research suggests, like there's a Pew Research Center, they show that 72% of adults globally, they trust vloggers more than like mainstream media, okay? Especially with regards to like travel and stuff like that. So it's very true. So I mean, there's obviously a potential for social media and vlogging itself to create forms of propaganda. I mean, they say like one viral video, a video with like maybe 1 million views draws thousands and thousands of inquiries for visas and people that basically want to come out here. So it's pretty remarkable. And I guess like with the continuing themes of live like a king and the simple life and the happy locals and affordable living and all that great stuff, it does create like a narrative bias, where audiences, they kind of accept this as truth versus, critical evaluation. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of like a serious thing we just got to keep in mind, I guess, as like vloggers, is I guess the ethical component of the way we're presenting material, how much of it we present. I mean, I try to find a balance, but I mean, even for myself, it's not easy. Like I've always suggested, a good budget for people living here is like $2,000 a month at minimum. But I mean, as I showed in my last video, it's like I've been able to live out here at times for well under $1,000, possibly even like $600. But it depends on the person. It depends on your goals, the type of lifestyle you want to live and stuff like that. So let's look at the economic and cultural impacts. Like the positive impact is an increase in tourism. It's good for local growth, greater culture exchange when vloggers promote integration. But some of the negative stuff is like you start to get like a cultural dilution as Western norms. We start to infiltrate Filipino communities, particularly in urbanized area. And we get all the typical like entitled expat behavior, the live like a king mentalities, and I guess potential sources of, or potentials for exploitation
Dad?
and stuff like that. Yes, son.
I'm done with my tooties.
Oh, good job, son. Yeah, son.
I need to open it.
So I guess they call it like a soft power, the stuff that vloggers yield. And it kind of shapes like public opinion, not only about the Philippines, but also, like I said, instilling their own Western values of consumerism and ethnocentrism, like potential cultural superiority. This is why, I mean, like me personally, I'm not into some vlogs. And I like the fact that, most of my audience, because we get metrics on YouTube analytics about the type of channels they watch and stuff, and like most of the people that watch this channel, they watch a lot of other family channels, but then occasionally like a random one will pop up and you're like, really, like they watch that one? And it's usually
Cannot open this.
I don't know, kind of odd,
Cannot
but
open this.
I got it. Let me get that.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome, son. So yeah, I mean, it comes down to like, I guess, balance and like messages, because it's, even as vloggers, you never know what videos are going to take off. You never know what messages are going to succeed. And most people, obviously, they do vlogs as a source of income and stuff, so they kind of just go with the trends, go with the flow type of thing. But it can kind of create I guess biases in certain types of tourists that come out here, because there's a lot of very shallow, kind of superficial messages on YouTube. Like,
Thank you, Daddy.
you're welcome. I think a lot of people feel like if they're just justifying their message because they feel like they're supporting tourism, but if your message is just indirectly or directly promoting stuff like sex tourism and cheap living, that can be problematic, obviously, for these cultures. So I mean, I guess it's something we all need to be mindful of as vloggers. And none of us are perfect. We all say things sometimes maybe we shouldn't say, or we oversell certain messages, or we try to kind of sell out and go with trends because it's what's popular. But it's kind of a bigger thing going on, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm a father here in the Philippines. I care about the type of expats I attract and other people are attracting out here. So it's just one of the things we talk about. But make no mistake, like, and don't underestimate the amount of people that can potentially come out here in the next 10 years, and underestimate certain influences of vlogging, what they could be, doing to these countries, both positively and negatively. So it's just something we should all keep in mind. But anyway, it's Captain Trucker. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. You all be good out there.
And
Bye-bye.
when you like this video.
Thank you, son. You said to like the video. All right. Bye.